Hi, I'm Dominic Robson-Neal,
I'm Zell Folks,
and this is
Inside the Ropes Boxing Show.
All right. Hi, I'm Dominic Robson-Neal with another episode of Inside the Ropes. I have my two co-hosts with me, Marlon Clemens and Jalen Pridgeon. And we got one special guest. We got Julian, Bad News Gomez. He's going to be talking for a little while. And we have our special guest, my adopted granddaughter,
Baby News, Camila Clemens.
All right. So today we're going to talk about amateur boxing, right? So, as you know, in amateur boxing, you have open division and you have novice division. So, what I try to get people not to get confused is when your son or your daughter start winning 2 or 3 fights at the novice level, and they feel like they don't need to come to the gym no more because they think they know everything, so they'll start coming sporadically, which they really don't know what's going to happen to them when they turn open. Open is when you have 10 fights and above. So you can have 10 fights and the next person can have 150 fights, and you still got to be able to compete on that level. So you have to get good at novice so you'll be able to compete on a doggone open level.
Right.
So let me ask you a question, Jaden. What was the difference between novice and open when you fought?
Well, I think when you turn open after being novice, it's almost like starting over again because of the level of competition you're facing. But if you come to Robinson Hill Boxing Academy, it's not so much of a big start over because it wasn't that big of a jump. Because I think my first 5 fights open is with people with 300 fights, 150 some fights,
Right.
200 some fights. But I was already I was training with the Matrix, DeAndre Robinson Hill. So my level of competition was already up. I was getting beat up every day. So.
Right, so Bad News, you just turned open not too long ago, correct?
Yes.
From an amateur fighter. Look at the screen, young man. From an amateur fighter. So tell her, what was the jump like for you?
Well, my first fight, I was actually really nervous. Like, my mindset was like, have to get it done. And just overall, just everything was just new to me, and I was just extremely nervous.
Right. But it's good. Get used to the camera. You're gonna be in there a lot. So now, since your first fight and your last fight, what is the difference?
Well, my first fight, my pace was a lot faster, and the way I threw my combinations and everything was kind of like not that good, but my last fight was pretty good because my pace and everything was good, and I threw my combinations sharper, and I made sure that my footwork and everything was on point.
All right. That's what's up. Now, the difference, what I think is the difference between a good amateur, like, listen, if you're seasoned good in the amateurs, when you get to be a professional boxer, you're gonna be able to compete with anybody. You understand what I'm saying? So if you had the basic skills, the basic fundamentals down, even at the amateur shows you go to now, our fighters go in there with the basic skills. They compete with anybody with just the basics. Now, we add stuff onto it depending on that person or their skill set, but they're always competitive because they know the basics. You understand what I'm saying? So amateur boxing is good because, first of all, it's going to get you ring time. Second of all, it's going to get you acclimated to being in front of a crowd. It's going to get you acclimated to having those butterflies that you would that most people don't understand that you're gonna have when you get ready to fight.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
You got butterflies as a trainer starting out.
Now you're right about that. You're right, butterflies. Trainer get nervous too. You like, dog. But I've got to a place now where I'm comfortable knowing these guys can take care of themselves, so I don't get as nervous as I used to. But but now another thing, amateur boxing. I don't think you should stay in amateur boxing too long, because you'll be good at amateur boxing. That'll be the norm for you, and then when you turn professional, you'll still be fighting like an amateur. What do you think about that, Jay?
Yeah. I witnessed people that's been in the amateurs since Dre was in the amateurs, and people before him. I got in the amateurs. They were still in the amateurs, and I just think at some point, because amateurs is for experience. Amateurs is a process that you have to go through to become a professional. That's not saying that you can't just be professional, but it's a process to go through if you want to be a good professional.
And a lot of times people I used to always say, when my fighters first start off in amateurs, I like for them to lose. That way they can grow. I can gauge it, because a lot of times the guy just start winning a couple bouts off the bat. What he does is he don't realize what he was doing wrong, so he'll just keep doing the same thing over. Well, it worked the first time, it worked the second time, or the third time, which I'd rather for him to lose. That way, okay, I got to trust the coach. Now I got to listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lost your first fight, amateur fight.
Yeah.
I think DeAndre lost like 6 in a row. So so that just proved. But when you actually have a little adversity at the start, it's gonna tell you a lot. You having your first bout gonna tell me a lot. If you want to become a boxer, or this just was something to do to get some chicks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you lose and you come back, I know you for real. But if you lose or you win, and then you stay gone for weeks, 2 weeks, and you come back and round fight. Nah, I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to start that.
Yeah, I think amateur boxing is a good process to go through to see what kind of fighter you got. See his character.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, you're right, because I want to put you in that heat. I want to put you in that storm. See how you're gonna come out of it.
Yeah, because some people they fight a couple amateur fights, and then they find out,
it's not for them.
It ain't gonna work.
I respect that though.
Right.
If they quit, you know what I'm saying? If they quit, it wasn't for you. I understand.
Because some people got a glass chin and they don't know it. Some people got strong chins, some people got weak chins. But you got to fight to find out.
You're right. You can't. Now, before we go today, I'm gonna ask Julian. So, Julian, what made you want to box?
So my mom had introduced me to boxing at 6 years old, but my dad had officially introduced me to boxing, and once I found out it's a sport, like you have no teammates or anything, and I realized that your success depends on you. Everything you do depends on you, and that's what I liked about it.
Right.
I understand.
You have nobody to rely on, it's just you.
Right. I remember my amateur days. Back in the day, you could fight like 2 or 3 times in one day. So you might have a tournament, and the tournament lasts a weekend. But you fought, so you fought your first fight at 9 o'clock that morning. Then you come back and fight like 1. Then you go to the championship round. You might fight 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. So it was totally different, different animal. But most of the amateurs back then were pretty good. They were some pretty, like, people on the All-Army team. You got to think about it. In 1988, we had like 4 or 5 gold medals off the All-Army team.
Man.
So they had some real good boxers. So the military at one time had some real. So if you got beat up by them, you was decent. You could go out to a local gym and dominate. You probably can't dominate at all Army camp, but you can go to a local gym and look like a superstar.
Now, did y'all have to make weight for each of them tournaments?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Man.
You can't go nowhere. You can't come back 20 pounds over.
Man.
I think it might have been you weighed that morning. because they know you had a fight coming. So I can't remember, but I know you had to weigh in that morning for sure.
Fight 3 times a
trying to
night.
weigh in 3 times a day.
3 times a day. All right. This has been another episode of Inside the Ropes. We have my man Julian Bad News Gomez. He a little camera shy, but the more we get him in front of the camera, just like boxing, he gonna be able to get up here and shine. If you want his autograph, contact me, Jalen or Marlon. We got you. All right. Y'all have a good Saturday, good Sunday, good week. All right.